You're looking at www.grDatabase.com. What I want to show you in this short video is how to import data into the database and get it online fairly quickly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new database. We're working on a live system, and so we'll just start with a new database. I would say call it online. It's a new book database. So this database is created, and you can see we have another tab for a database, and you can see that we have the search criteria fields on the left and the other fields across the table. So we're going to import a file, and this file is going to come from our local drive. We load the CSV file, and this is a books database that we had, and we open. Now this file is 1.2 megabytes big, and it has to be loaded from the our local drive up to the server, so that takes about 15 seconds or so, and so maybe a little longer, so we'll just have to wait a little bit for it to get uploaded. Once it's uploaded, we'll be able to see if it's correct, because there'll be a table built, and here's the table. You have the field names across the top and the values for each column. You have item ID, title, author, publisher, edition, etc., and these are all the book fields. Now here's a please read down here, which shows you a couple of things. Your CSV file that you upload has to have a header line, and then it has to be followed by however many data lines you have. It can be comma, tab, colon, or semicolon delimited. You must have an item ID field, and it has to specifically say item ID, because the item ID is used as the key into your database. The file can't be any longer than 4,000 records right now, and that's just an arbitrary number that we assigned. The other special fields that you have, there's 3 other special fields. One's called online status, one's called description, and one's called image URL. The online status field will tell the system whether to put your item online when it's imported, and there will be an online status field will either say online or not, and if it says online, then it will be put online. The description field, if the values in the description field, they'll show up when grDatabase builds the description. And the image URL, if you have an image, you need to have a fully qualified image URL in the image URL field, and that way when you view an item, the image will show up to whoever views the item. So those are the 3 fields that are optional, and of course the item ID is not optional. So the table's correct, so we said the above table is correct. Now what we have is fields in the left column and fields in the middle column. The fields in the middle column are all of the fields that were common to the database and common to your CSV file. For example, things like title, author, publisher, edition, binding, these were in both places. Now the ones in the blue on the left, these are fields that were in your CSV file but are not in the database already. So if you want these to be imported, then you have to add them to the database, and we'll do that by creating a edit group to put them in. So we'll just open this group, and we'll say to add a new group, and we'll just call these import fields. Okay, we added this group, and when we do, we get a new edit group. We open that up, and now we can go over here and put whatever fields that we want to add to this database. We'll just put a few fields. We can double click and it will put them over there. So we double click on purchase date and purchase place, purchase city, and you would continue to do this until you have all of your extra fields into the database. And when you're finished doing that, we're not going to add all of them, but when you're finished doing that, you'll be satisfied that every field in this middle column will be imported from your CSV file into the database. So once you're ready and you have all this done, you have to make another decision. You can add or replace all records, which means that if the item ID specified in your CSV file for each record, if it already exists in the database, it will be overwritten. If it doesn't exist, it will be added. Now contrast that to add only. Add only means that if it exists in the database, then it will not be added. It will only be added if it's unique, and if it already exists, an error will result. The replace only is almost like that, just a little difference. The record in the database has to exist for it to be overwritten, otherwise it will produce an error. And the other option is to purge and replace. What this does is it deletes every record in your database and replaces it with every record in your CSV file. So we'll do add or replace, though since this is a new database, it's the same thing as add only, but what we'll do is we'll say write imported records to the database. And when you do that, it will take and add 3,123 records, because you had that many unique IDs in your CSV file, and so it added every one of those records. And since it's there, we say close, and this just a message window when you say, and we'll close this, and you can see that this new book database has 3,123 rows. And to show you that it is a live database and it works, we can search, we can show all signed records. There's 141 signed records. Or you can search by ID, which, see if there's a 101 in here. And there is a 101. And we can clear the search fields. And we'll look at all public items, which again is your whole database that we just imported. So importing is, we'll go back to the import window. The basic idea for the import window is you load a file, a CSV file from your local drive. Your file has to have a field called item ID. It has to have a header line that specifies the field names, and 0 to however many records you have, as long as it's less than 4,000. The 3 special fields that you have to, or might have, is image URL. We can look at this again. Is image URL if you have an image, and that has to be a fully qualified image name. A description, which will be put into the view when a user views your item, and online status, which tells at the time that your file is being imported whether to put that field online or not. So that's about it. And the other thing that you just need to keep in mind is that edit fields have to be in edit groups to be able to be edited and to be included in the database. And so you need to get your fields from your CSV file over into the import, into the fields, into the groups. They have to be in a group somewhere to be imported into the database. So that's about it. Thanks for looking at this video, and I hope you create some databases and get started. Thank you a lot. Bye.